Rest Risings. Let me see how this look. Rest Rising. I don't know how this gonna look. Nope. Sideways. I may have to start this over. No. I'll just turn it now. Rest Risings. Okay. Yeah. It is gonna be what it's gonna be. Okay. I might need light in the back. Gonna get in the eyes a little bit. I don't mean to blur it out anyway, but so be it. All right. Basically, I want to deal with this. Don't leave your treasures exposed. This is kind of what I want to talk about. Abba Yah, thank you for a good night rest. Thank you for allowing me some needed sleep. Up early, but still about the business. Thank you for watching over my family. Thank you for allowing me to be a hedge of protection over my family, allowing me to be the strong man in my home, having you as my covering and being able to cover them. Thank you for me being able to protect the treasures that you've given me. Hallelujah. What up, Kevin? Okay. I don't want to get people to get it twisted. There's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of times your whole household is not on the same play, or even if they are, you may have opportunities to do things, especially like travel and stuff like that. And with everything that's going on right now with COVID and everything, honestly, I don't believe it's wisdom for the protector of the home to be away from the home. I honestly don't believe that, especially if the whole family is not going. Because if you end up in another city or state, I should say, and they lock that thing down, you may be away from your home for a while. I guess last shutdown that we had, truckers were stuck in other states. That happens. And your home is unguarded, unprotected. Yes, okay, your wife can do some of the protection, but that's not her duty, that's not her job. That's your job. People know to an extent what valuables you have. So I just want to share a couple of scriptures that deal with exposed treasures. The first one I'm gonna go with something that happened later in the timeline. Well, no, actually, it's not later in the timeline. I'm gonna start off with David and Bathsheba. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go to 2 Samuel 11 and read about that. Okay, so I'm gonna give a little play on it. Usually, when there's wartime, the kings in Israel would be along with the war party. They would go along and they would fight. They would battle. But David had many battles, so he got laxed in his older days, and that was not something that was on his plate to do. So let's start here, 2 Samuel 11. And it came to pass, after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon, and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried still at Jerusalem. He stayed at home. And it came to pass in the eventide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. See, the king's house was above everybody else, the palace up high. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. Oh, she was someone's treasure. She was beautiful. She was, whew, and she was washing and bathing, so she likely was nude. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? See, Uriah was one of David's valiant men, one of his top fighters. And so, you can't make me believe that he didn't have awareness of Uriah having a wife, and that Bathsheba was that wife. He may not have recognized her from up there, but once he was told, he knew. But he knew where Uriah would be at, because Uriah was one of his valiant fighters. He was out at war. And David sent messengers and took her. And she came in unto him, and he lay with her. So he had sex with her. For she was purified from her uncleanness. Oh, she had bathed good. And she returned into her home. This dirty bastard, who was the king, he was running dirty bastard right now. One of his top men basically had exposed his treasure, left his treasure at home. He out at war, being loyal to this king. And this king seen his beautiful wife, and he took her for himself. And the woman conceived and sent and told David and said, I am with child. See, her husband had been out at war for a while. So, I'm going to skip through that. But David basically set up a plot to bring Uriah back and have him sleep with his wife so, he could take credit for that child. But Uriah was more loyal and more faithful to David, and he nah, and he more loyal to the troops, so he I'm not going to come away from the battle and have pleasure with my wife while all my men are out there battling. So nah, he wouldn't do that. But his exposed treasure had basically been taken. Nah. Okay. Let's go to one of my, it ain't one of my favorite stories, but it's an interesting story. Now, I'm going to skip and just tell some of the story. Basically, what was going on, King Hezekiah had been rested up in his bed sick. And so it had got out to other people in other nations, and people, they heard about it. And so let's go to 2 Kings 20 and 13. I'm going to scoot up a little bit before that. All right. Go to 12. At the time, Baradak Baladan, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and a present unto Hezekiah, for he had heard Hezekiah had been sick. And Hezekiah hearkened unto them and shewed them basically all the house of his precious things. He allowed these people to, that they came and visit, they brought the letter and everything, but let them visit. And let them look at it, all the silver, all the gold, and the spices, and the precious ointment, and all the house of his armor, and all that was found in his treasures. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah shewed them not. He showed them everything. Then came Isaiah the prophet unto King Hezekiah, and said unto him, What said these men, and from whence came they unto thee? And Hezekiah said, They are come from a far country, even from Babylon. He ain't really know these folks, but he exposing his treasures to them. And he said, what have they seen in thy house? And Hezekiah answered, all the things that are in mine house have they seen. There is nothing among my treasures that I have not showed them. And Isaiah said unto Hezekiah, hear the word of Yahuwah. Behold, the days come that all that is in thine house, and that which thy fathers have laid up in store unto this day, shall be carried unto Babylon. Nothing shall be left, saith Yahuwah. And of thy sons that shall issue from thee, which thy shall beget, shall they take away, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. Then said Hezekiah unto Isaiah, good is the word of Yahuwah which thou hast spoken. And he said, it is not good if peace and truth be in my day. But what up, Marquise? Hezekiah basically opened up his treasures to some strangers, and later on, those people would be the ones that would come in and take all the riches out of Israel, and even take the kings and the king's sons, and take the people. You can't let everybody in your home. You can't leave everything exposed. You need to be the strong man of your home. Right now, I seriously say it. We are, I'm one that's not looking to be vaccinated. I'm not. That's not my thing. They talking this stuff about coming from house to house or whatever. You got to go to work, but that's not like far away. If you're in another state, it's going to take you hours to get back home. They could pillage your home and do whatever. You got to be considerate of that, especially if you're not taking your whole family. I'm not trying to put fear on nobody. This ain't about fear. It's about wisdom. You got to be considerate of what you're doing. I get it. Plan ahead, do all this stuff. But right now, this is not a normal situation. This is not what we used to have, where you could plan and set things in motion. Those that are compatriots with you are going to be with you most likely if you're going to do something, far as, in another state or whatever, and it's dealing with the feast days and stuff like that. You might want to try to organize something closer to home, and I'm not speaking against anybody. I'm just saying I think this is wisdom, but maybe nobody will hear me. Maybe they will. Okay. See, David, we just spoke on him a minute ago and how he snatched up Bathsheba, but, there's a story that shows that David knows full well how it is to be exposed himself. So he ought not have been doing this, but he did it. So let's go to 1 Samuel 30. All right, it's going to be a nice little read here because, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this for real. Y'all will set it up for you to restore what you have. He can make that happen. But I'm like, still, show forth wisdom. You got to be ready. It tells us, when it comes to ministering that we should be ready to do in any season. I'm like, right now, what's going on, we should be ready for it. It should not catch us completely off guard. They already, they've been speaking about coming door to door. They've been even talking about going to children's school and vaccinating them, And I'm like, okay, people are like, oh, that wouldn't happen. And I'm like, well, it has happened in other regions. So why wouldn't you guard against something that could happen? Now, you don't have to operate in fear, but wisdom. If you know that it can happen, establish something so that it doesn't happen to you. It just only makes, to me, it's only reasonable to do that. Everybody's not in this situation. Some people don't have younger children. Some people, don't have a wife that's going to be looking over those younger children while they're away. Some people are single and they can move like that. Some people their whole family move together. Some people don't have the resources to do that. So, and when you do have the resources, hey, do that. Do that. But some of the stuff, some people have to operate in a different way than what they've been operating. I'm like, it to me, it speaks loudly. If you can leave things that easy and not take them along with you, is it valuable to you as you say it is? Is that the case? Is that what that's speaking to them? That you can leave them uncovered, that you can step away from them like that. I get it. When everything was supposedly so-called normal, going on trips away from your family or whatever, everything was good. You had other people that could watch over them and stuff like that you trusted. But right now, that's not the case. We have a divide that's growing, the vaccinated and against the unvaccinated. It should not be that way. Everybody should be able to have their own thoughts, their own way of doing things. If I want to be vaccinated, hey, shouldn't be a problem with someone that's unvaccinated. But I'm one that want to be unvaccinated. So to me, there shouldn't be a problem with somebody who is vaccinated. Their vaccine should cover them. But they're blaming everything for our sickness. When a vaccinated person gets sick, they blame it on an unvaccinated person. They're setting up a divide and conquer. And most people that are getting duped by this are not seeing that that's what it is. The enemies on the outside are putting those that should be compatriots to one another against one another and dividing them so that they can conquer them all. But, all right, let's go here to 1 Samuel 30. And it came to pass, when David and his men were come to Ziklag, on the third day, that the Amalekites had invaded the south and Ziklag, and smitten Ziklag, and burnt it with fire. Now David and them were away at war handling some stuff, but they didn't really leave anybody there to protect their possessions. While they're going to deal with someone else, they left all their valuables unprotected, uncovered. They didn't, they didn't assume or believe that there was going to be a problem with them doing this, because they've probably done this many times, but they didn't recognize the time there was. You're at war. You're at war. Right now, we're coming at the end of the days. We need to endure to the end. So we may need to move a little bit differently. Okay. And had taken the women captive that were therein. They slew not any. Good thing that they didn't kill any, either great or small, but carried them away and went on their way. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burnt with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep. And David's 2 wives were taken. See, that man had 2 wives at the time. And this is a time that he was anointed of Yah. Oh, yeah, let me get off that. And we're taken. And Hinoam, the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelite. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in Yahuwah his sovereign. And David said to Abiathar the priest, Ahimelech's son, I pray thee, bring me hither the ephod. And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David. And David inquired at Yahuwah, saying, Shall I pursue after this troop? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, Pursue. For thou shalt surely overtake them, and without fail recover all. See, definitely, if something does happen, you got to put it in the hands of Yah. Seek his counsel. But before we even make our moves, we should seek his counsel to see what he say. If he tells you that, he's covering your home when you leave, okay, then move. But you should seek his counsel first. A lot of this stuff we are doing, we're doing basically acting as if things are normal. Normal is gone. There is no more normal. Stop operating, stop thinking that there's a normal. The new normal is basically distress, people fear-mongering, pressuring people or coercing people to do things that they're not comfortable doing. That's the new normal. So David went, he and 600 men that were with him, and came to the brook Besor, where those that were left behind stayed. But David pursued, he and 400 men, for 200 abode behind. See, this time he left some people behind in the land. They were tired, though, which were faint that they could not go over to the brook Besor. These were tired folks, So they probably would have ended up being, casualties of the battle anyway. But they probably should have left some people before. Strong man is gone. It's easy to topple the home. And they found an Egyptian in the field and brought him to David and gave him bread, and he did eat. And they made him drink water. And they gave him a piece of the cake of figs and 2 clusters of raisins. And when he had eaten, his spirit came again to him, for he had eaten no bread, nor drunk any water 3 days and 3 nights. And David said unto them, To whom belongest thou, and whence art thou? And he said, I am a young man of Egypt, servant to an Amalekite, and my master left me because 3 days agone I fell sick. He was sick 3 days ago. So his master abandoned him. We made an invasion upon the south of the Cherethites, and upon the coast which belongeth to Yehudah, and upon the south of Caleb, and we burnt Ziklag with fire. So he let it be known. I was a part of that party that tore your people up, that did what it did when you basically exposed your treasures. I was one of the ones that went up in there and took advantage of that. And David said to him, Canst thou bring me down to this company? Show me the rest of the folks that was with you. And he said, Swear unto me, my lord, or my master, that thou wilt neither kill me nor deliver me into the hands of my master, and I will bring thee down to this company. Oh, he didn't want to go into the hands of the other person that he was under control of, and he definitely didn't want David to handle him roughly, but okay. And when he had brought him down, behold, they were spread abroad upon all the earth, eating and drinking and dancing, because of all the great spoil that they had taken out of the land of the Philistines and out of the land of Yehudah. And David smote them from the twilight even unto the evening of the next day, and there escaped not a man of them, save 400 young men which rode upon camels and fled. So they handled their business. And David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his 2 wives, and there was nothing lacking to them, neither small nor great, neither sons nor daughters, neither spoil, nor anything that they had taken to them. David recovered all. Yeah, he recovered it all. That's a blessing. He recovered it all. But, see, this was before the Bathsheba situation. I bet it had David, understanding or comprehending that, you need to cover your valuables. But see, Uriah left his wife uncovered, and David spoiled her. So sometimes the spoiled becomes the spoiler. Those that supposed to be your friend, David was Uriah's friend supposedly. When they know what you have of value is uncovered, you're away. David took Uriah's wife. You're leaving your wife at home while you're gone. These are not the times for that. But this is my opinion, this is my thought. This is what I believe Yah is showing me. I don't think everybody has the same thing shown them, and they need to be obedient to what they're being shown. But if anybody has questions to what my moves and how I move, I'm being obedient to what I believe Yah is showing me. So I may not be a part of every situation because I'm covering my home. I'm being the strong man of my home. If you got issues or got problems, come question me about it. But I'm doing what I believe I'm directed to do. I'm not allowing another man to come in and tell me something different either. If Yah shows me something different, I'm going to obey. But Yah has told me to stay with my home, watch over my children, be the strong man in my home. And I'm not exposing everything that go on. You don't need to know what's going on with me or my wife, whatever. I tell you some of the good things. But if we did have issues, you wouldn't know. And that's wisdom. My first marriage, I exposed a lot of the bad. And one of the things that came about out of that, when I tried to work to restore that first marriage, basically, anytime I went near someone that supposedly loved me, supposedly had love for me, they would replay what I said. You're going to go back to her after this, blah, blah, blah. And basically, it helped me sever ties and not saying that I should have severed ties, but, it was a lot there. That's 18 years back, so there's no regret in what I did, but I learned, don't be exposing everything to people because they will use it as weapons against you. And one of the biggest things that most people don't get, when you become one with someone, when you speak negatively of them, you're speaking negatively of yourself. So exposing things of your marriage, you could think you have confidence with people, but some of those same people will be reminded of those things and may remind you of those things to hurt you, to tear down, or even to uncover your nakedness. See, that makes me think, about some of the Torah situations that uncovering your nakedness. When a man sleeps with another man's woman, he uncovered that man's nakedness. When a man sleeps with a man's daughter, that's someone he's supposed to be covering. He uncovered that man's nakedness. If he sleeps with her basically without going through the process and getting the permissions to do that. Uncovers nakedness. That was definitely a violation. But being a strong man of your home, keep guard, keep protection, operate and do what Yah has directed you to do. But definitely, don't let everybody know what's going on in your home. That's not everybody's business. You may go to a counselor or something like that, but that's something that should be mutual between you and your wife, whatever. It's something that person is like, I guess, unbiased. They don't have a side. That's done with intent. But just, running and gossiping and talking about your spouse to your friends and to people in ministry and stuff like that, that may come back to bite you. That same person that you let know, you may even tell them some good stuff. Oh, man, she worked me out and blah, blah. You don't want someone else lusting after your wife either. Don't give them the tools or the energy, the desire. Don't build up their desire. Don't boost up their desire for your spouse. Don't do that. If she your good thing, that's your good thing. You ain't got to share every aspect. Now, you can say, "Oh, I enjoy my wife," but what's with all the detail? Don't nobody need to know that. They really don't. Don't know everybody need to know what's in your pockets either. Because when people know what you got, you become the one that they want to get. When we get to this point where, people gonna have to be storehouses, everybody don't need to know what's in your storehouse, because those that lack a storehouse may want to come and pillage your storehouse. Yeah, definitely be mindful of what Yah is directing you. If He's telling you to be a source to other folks, be that. But they don't need to know everything. They need to know what they need to know. What's here, this is what I'm giving you. They don't need to know everything. You don't have to expose everything. Well, Abba Yah, I thank you. Thank you for this Shabbat. Okay, right now, sunrise. This is the beginning of the Shabbat. Sunrise. I'm coming in at sunrise. We're going to sunrise. Shabbat. Shabbat blessings. Hallelujah. Thank you, Abba, for waking me, rising me up, bringing me up this beginning of the day, beginning of the Sabbath day, so that I could bring forth a word. May it expose some situations so that people can see where they need to guard their treasures. May they heed your voice. If it be to do this, go here, go there, they do it. If it be to cover this and cover that, they do it. I'm not saying this word for them to heed my voice, but to be able to hear you if you are in my voice. I thank you for just being a covering and watching over my household and training me up and helping me discover who I am in you, so that I could be a cover, not just to my family, but to some in ministry. Bring those that I am supposed to cover. Thank you for giving me a wife that is supportive of me in ministry. May I be a better minister to my home, and then also minister to others. Want to be fruitful and multiply in all I do. Want to be one that sets forth your will here in earth, even before this becomes heaven, or before heaven comes down and be, part with this. Want to have your will done here on earth as it is in heaven during my lifetime, even if it be in a small pocket, be in this sanctuary of a home, that we have an example of heaven. Let it be. I thank you for your blessings. So be it. I thank you for your love. So be it. I thank you for your mercy. So be it. Thank you for your faithfulness, and help me to be more faithful, so that as I go forth, I'm able to endure to the end, and also give example to my family, so that they themselves are able to endure to the end. Thank you for all this. In Yahusha's name. He is high priest and proxy. Blessings and shalom. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.